Hello, Brooks Avenue family and friends. I hope you had a joyful Christmas. It's Thursday, and that means it's time for another installment of Discovering Discipleship. I'm Jeremy Marshall, Family Discipleship Minister at Brooks Avenue Church of Christ in Raleigh, North Carolina. Now, I'm currently teaching a Sunday morning adult Bible class called G is for Gospel. In this class, we are learning the faith once for all delivered to the saints as 5 words that all begin with the letter G. God, guilt, grace, gratitude, and glory. Now, our faith begins with God. How do we answer the question, what is God? The most succinct answer to that question I've found comes to us from the Puritans at Westminster. God is a spirit, infinite, eternal, and unchangeable in his being, wisdom, power, holiness, justice, goodness, and truth. Now, if that definition doesn't do much for you, I would challenge you to ask yourself this question. What kind of a God can save me? What kind of a God will be my rock and my stronghold when my world is falling apart? See, when you frame it that way, suddenly that bone-dry sounding definition from the old Westminster preachers is meaty and dripping with marrow. A God who is spirit has no bodily needs and is not contained in one place. He is able to be all places at once. And this is exactly what St. Paul preached to the philosophers who had gathered on Mars Hill. God, who made the world and everything in it, since he is Lord of heaven and earth, does not dwell in temples made with hands, nor is he worshipped with men's hands as though he needed anything, since he gives to all life, breath, and all things. Acts 17, 24 and 25. A God who is infinite and eternal is not limited by space or by time. So the psalmist says, "Where can I go from your spirit? Or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend into heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, you are there." Psalm 139, 7 and 8. A God who is eternal and unchangeable in his being is always the same, always reliable, never fickle. This is the God James 1:17 calls the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow of turning. This is Jesus Christ, the same yesterday, today, and forever. Hebrews 13:8. A God who is infinite, eternal, and unchangeable in his wisdom is never improvising. There's nothing he doesn't know, past, present, or future, actual or possible. This is the God who can say to us, "I declare the end from the beginning, and from long ago what is not yet done," saying, "My plan will take place, and I will do all of my will." Isaiah 46:10. Such a God can make us laugh at the days to come, Proverbs 31:25, because we know that the future belongs to him. A God who is infinite, eternal, and unchangeable in his power cannot be overcome or frustrated by Satan or a rebellious world or even the sin that still dwells in us. Our God is in the heavens. He does all that he pleases. Psalm 115, verse 3. A God whose holiness and justice are unchangeable is a God who is not indifferent to sin and oppression and suffering. He is a God who will act because he is of purer eyes than to see evil and cannot look at wrong. Habakkuk 1:13. A God who is infinite, eternal, and unchangeable in his goodness is not stingy. He is not good to us because we are good. He is good to us because he is good. Thou art good and doest good. Psalm 119:68. He is simply an endless ocean of goodness pouring himself out on his people. And a God who is infinite, eternal, and unchangeable in his truth is completely trustworthy. God is not a man that he might lie, or a son of man that he might change his mind. Does he speak and not act? Or promise and not fulfill? Numbers 23:19. Here is a God who is self-existent, all-knowing, all-powerful. Here is a God who peers into our hearts and knows all that is in them, even when we do not. This is a God you cannot hide from, a God you cannot impress, and a God you cannot placate. This God might make you uncomfortable. You may be tempted to try and make him more manageable, more like you. But that won't do. Because a God you could manage couldn't save you. And the kind of God who would make you comfortable will not be any comfort to you when your world is falling apart. Only the God who is spirit, infinite, and eternal can come rescue you when you've made your bed in hell. And only the God who is unchangeable in his being, wisdom, power, holiness, justice, goodness, and truth is able to work all things together for the good of those who love him. In the Chronicles of Narnia, C.S. Lewis said Aslan, the Christ figure of the stories, that he's not a tame lion. He's not safe, but he's good. Beloved, our God is neither tame nor safe, but he is good. And that's precisely why you can be saved and safe in him.